We are live on a Friday, not only Friday, but a Masters Friday. Only happens once a year. So, for those of you who are like me, have the Masters feed going over here in the left hand corner on my phone, I hope you are enjoying it. The course looks absolutely amazing. I know our friend, I'll say our friend because many of you have listened to the podcast, our friend Larry Long Jr. is at the Masters, and follow his Instagram and you'll see some pretty cool pictures of what is going on there. For those of you who've been paying attention, what you should see is that there's this theme that has been building over the course of the last couple of weeks. And I'm going to connect a couple of dots relative to the theme, primarily because the quote that we started the week with was a Robert. Is it Robert Anthony? I think it's Robert Anthony. I'm just going through it. And again, you get to see how the sausage is made here as I do live and look at the previous post. Moving fast is not the same as going somewhere. Moving fast is not the same as going somewhere. And that is from Robert Anthony. So why is that important? Well, we're going somewhere. Like that's the intention behind the content that I've been sharing, the story that's building. Now, some of you are dipping your toe into the journey. Some of you are deep into the journey. Some of you don't know that a journey is going on. It's all okay because that's how this stuff is supposed to work. If you put the right content out there for the right folks, it should and will resonate. And so from a design perspective, started a couple of weeks ago, focused on the idea of the clarity around me embracing the fact that I'm an enabler. I'm an enabler. I am focused on helping people be a better version of themselves. Can accomplish so much more through others than you can accomplish on your own. Some people just need that nudge. Some people just need that catalyst. So that's why we put out the Find My Catalyst podcast every week. And I'm thinking about actually delivering it more than once per week, only because we've got so mumuch content and there's so much great information that I shouldn't continue to keep it hidden. I need to feel more comfortable with what we're doing there, and that is a bias that I need to overcome. The idea of, hey, it's kind of cool to put things out multiple times and then go a couple of weeks without communicating something, versus constantly communicating things on a week by week basis. Anyhow, back to the Robert Anthony quote: "Moving fast is not the same as going somewhere. If you are moving fast and you have no idea where you are going, you should stop, take some time and assess the situation to make sure that you actually are have a destination. One, it's good to have a destination. Two, that you're pointed in the right direction. And three, that you've identified the waypoints, the next steps that you're going to go through as you get there, which shifted into actually, I'm going to share this. I had an amazing conversation. Jeff Bajorek, thanks for connecting Jen Allen and I up. This happened, he connected us up after I made the post on the Challenger sale, and did that in the context of a Throwback Thursday where we're talking about some of the sales process stuff. Jeff had commented to Jen. Jen engaged on the post, and then I recorded with Jen earlier this week, and I'm going to add a link to an early podcast that I did with Jody around infinite learning, taking a beginner's mind approach to the work that we do. And infinite learning is something that Barry Diller talked about on the Masters of Scale podcast a number of years back. Anyhow, I'll include a link in the comments section here so that you can go through and take a look at that podcast from way back when. And then when the conversation with Jen Allen is ready to go, I will make sure that is shared. So when we think about your team, you think about your team and you think about how hard they're working, because all of us are out there working hard. I imagine you'd be hard pressed to find someone out there who says that they're not working hard. I don't need to go to all Deadpool and maximum effort. There's some people who put in maximum effort on the task that they're working on in a given point in time. And some people's maximum effort is different than your maximum effort. And that's okay. If you've got a team that's out there working hard, going fast, but they're not going somewhere, you suck as a leader. Yes, you suck as a leader. I'm sorry. And everybody sucks as a leader. Like we can continue to work better at getting better at this leadership craft, whether we're leading self, the way that we lead ourselves, we're leading other people, individuals, or we're leading teams. If you've got a team of people that are working really hard and they're not actually going somewhere, it's not clear where they're going, then revisit your leadership capabilities. Go back and look in that mirror and determine, am I creating an opportunity for them to be successful, removing obstacles so that they can be successful, or am I actually creating distraction by throwing shiny things out there? Be careful, because a lot of us as leaders, we get really excited and we talk about vision and we can throw shiny things out there, and those things can create disruption. So when you look at your team, leveraging the Robert Anthony quote, ask yourself this question: is your team working hard? Are they going fast? Are they going somewhere? And just let that sit with you for a little bit. So how do we put that into action? How do we put that into practice? Well, on Whiteboard Wednesday, I shared, it's the same stuff that's up here, which demonstrates how the whiteboard has evolved over the course of the week. But on Whiteboard Wednesday, I talked about the game plan, goal setting and execution through clarity and focus, understanding our goal, might be money, identifying the actions that get us toward that goal, the activities, the work that needs to be done, and then the metrics that we use to hold ourselves personally accountable. This is a system I've implemented inside organizations and do for myself, and it helps me get better at execution. It also helps me be clear with myself around where some of the distraction is coming from and finding out ways to avoid some of that distraction. Now, I'm not always great at it. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. However, the system, when adopted and when used, will help improve your likelihood of success. And that's the game plan. We talked about that on Wednesday relative to making sure that we, whether it's individually, the work that we're doing, or our team as a whole, are actually doing things that are aligned with the ultimate objective. And remember, as leaders, we can create distraction, we can create shiny things, we can draw people away, and this is why it's important to have specialized teams inside your organization working on things. But remember, you all wear the same kit, you all wear the same jersey, you all have the same domain in your email address, the check gets paid from the same bank account. Anyhow, are we aligned? Good set of questions. And then moved into clarity. And I went back and I revisited a post that I did a while back. And I don't know what I am doing wrong with this whole LinkedIn algorithm thing, but I went in and I took a post that was from 2 years ago. And I know it says it was edited, but it hasn't been edited in a 2-year period. Anyhow, I took a post that was created 2 years ago that highlights the 3 ways to work with us, 3 ways to work with Catalyst, 3 ultimately work with me. We do have a team. We've got a couple of people inside the organization who do give various things, some working for customers, some working inside the business. I highlighted, hey, I'm back, and provided some clarity around things that have changed, things that haven't changed, and where and when to work with us. Now, there's 3 ways to work with us. Number 1, free. It's this kind of stuff. It's being able to follow the live sessions. It is joining and listening to the podcast where Jody and I are on the podcast from time to time, or bring some amazing experts on. The episode with Andy Paul is coming out soon. The episode with Lee Sauls is coming out soon. The episode with Jen Allen is coming out soon. Next week, Michelle Baker's episode will go live. That's all free. It's all free, other than you're trading your time. So if you're taking time to join and listen to that, please put the work into action. Share with me how you're putting the work into action, because if you're just listening to listen, it doesn't do much. If you're listening to learn and listening to change perspective and actually putting the work into action, then that's where the magic starts to happen. So that's free, meaning there's no cost associated with it other than your time, the investment of time. The second way to work with us, and this is a little known fact because I am really bad at self promotion and I will get better, but you can go through and use the courses. The courses that I've created are intended to help you go through, navigate these processes, systems, apply the thinking inside your individual work that you do as a solopreneur or inside your organization that you do as a leader. Do it with self-directed pace, with structure. And these are the same systems that I integrate and that I work on inside organizations. This is how I do the work. It's how I execute. Tanner, thanks for joining on here. You have to do the work. Tanner, awesome comment. Do the work, do the work, do the work, do the work, do the work. And if when you do the work, evaluate the work. Because if you're doing the work and it's not having an impact, then you need to do some other work. Don't just do the work for the sake of doing the work, which is, gets back to that Robert Anthony quote, which is going fast is not the same as going somewhere. So keeping with this point of clarity, number one, free podcast. It's going to take your time. You've got to put the work in, so that it's not free. It's an investment of your own time, energy, and resource. If you want some structure, to go through these processes, use some data to help hold you accountable, go through the courses. Demystify sales for the non-traditional sales professional was the first course. The game plan is the second course, and that's on its third iteration. Started as get shit done, then it shifted into the reset, and I didn't want to be connected to all the reset stuff, so we changed it up and realized that there's actually a pretty cool acronym there. Goals aligned, have your activities align with your goals and your metrics to use to hold yourself personally accountable. You will get better at execution. GAME. And then the third one, if you don't have enough fun hearing me on the podcast with others or watching some of the videos and you want to work with me directly, there's an option to do that too. And that is a combination of either coaching, consulting, or advisory work. And I do all three of those. All of them are very important and are necessary to solve for a specific problem associated with where you're going. So that is the clarity that was provided. I am back. And the last thing I did in the spirit of working out loud, hey, Brent, good to see you. In the spirit of working out loud, I did something I don't usually do. And actually, excuse me. Sometimes when I take immediate actions because I get mad as hell about something, and usually it relates to people overcomplicating some systems and process stuff, or getting confused or wrapped around the axle around a specific idea or concept that's preventing them from taking certain action. So I put together and MJ, I think, highlighted this best in a conversation that she and I had yesterday. She said it's more of a manual rather than a playbook. Right now, I'm calling it a playbook. It's ultimately, how do you go from first conversion, where you've got a live one, you've actually know the person that you're talking to, they've engaged in a discussion, meaning they've opened an email, they've responded to an email, they've done whatever you call your first conversion. How do you design for the second conversion, the third conversion, wherever the conversation happens, how do you enter them into a sales process, actually demonstrate that you've created pipeline, and then how do you navigate through both their decision-making process and your forecasting process? I've laid this out in what I think is right now a 4-page document. It's a Word document that has fill in the blank items. It is ugly as all get out. And it was built in flight, but it's ultimately what we do in a lot of this stuff, the drawings that are up in the background that help to say, okay, what does it truly mean to design for the next logical step? How do I actually know what the next logical step is? How do I start doing the work so that I can test against the next logical step? If that sounds interesting, send me a comment in here in this video, or send me a direct message. If you've got my cell phone, you can send me a text. If you are in one of the Slack instances I'm in, you can send me a Slack. If you are only connected via LinkedIn, just send me a direct message and I will send you the first iteration of this document. It's a working document. I'm going to do some design work on it with Jen and with a couple of folks over the weekend to make it a bit more clear. But this is your guide, your manual for going out and taking that first conversion, turning it into the second, the third, entering into the process, getting to the point where we're generating revenue, and then identifying growth opportunities inside the organizations you work with. I want to thank Brent for joining on here. I want to thank Tanner for joining on. If you go in and add comments as you're watching the video, I will respond to those comments. One of the cool things about the way the comments come up is I can actually respond to them in real time and context relative to the video. Do this every week on Monday mornings. Start out with a quote. This week, the quote was, going fast is not the same as going somewhere. And I just butchered, moving fast is not the same as going somewhere. And that is the Robert Anthony quote. We then started to talk a little bit about design and practical application, got into some clarity. I'm clarifying my message, who I'm for and who I'm not for. Although I know a lot of people who are really good at the demand gen stuff and I can make recommendations there and I'm happy to make those recommendations. That is not me. I'm the one who can help you get your pipeline unclogged and help identify new opportunities for growth within your customer base. That is me. And if you're struggling with that, let's figure out a way to work with each other, share those 3 ways: podcast, courses, and work directly with each other. I hope you all enjoy the Masters this weekend. If that is your thing, it is a beautiful golf course. It is one of my favorite tournaments. All the major tournaments are exciting. The Masters and the U.S. Open hold a very important place in my heart. Hope you have an awesome weekend. Get out there and, as Tanner said, do the work. Thank you, everyone. And now I'm going through that awkward piece of trying to figure out where my eyes are so that I can end the stream. Hope you have an awesome weekend.